Welcome in, everybody. So I had this interesting thought when I was going through my 1.0 playthrough, which was I wanted to just see how early I could catch certain pals and just see if I could min-max it so I could get like a strategy down to capture, something like Anubis really early on, because Anubis obviously has great handiwork and mining, so it'd just be nice to have him around, plus with how long everything takes to craft anyway. It would just be nice, right? So this started off as just like a theory to see if I could do this, and it took a turn that I didn't ever expect, and I got super lucky throughout this entire run. These are all on base settings, so nothing's boosted. I showed that at the end of the video, but this is just a normal playthrough just to see what I could do. Hypothetically speaking, you can do a lot. It's just up to you whether or not you actually choose to do it. But yeah, I'll just let you kind of watch as this goes. I'll try and back in at a few important points. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I learned a lot, and I hope you will too. This was honestly a really important part of the run. This bird is going to take us lots of places. If I had known how slow this bird was, I would not have chosen this one, and I would have probably taken the time to go get another one. Or just take some time and get a serpent. Don't do what I did. But yeah, no, I was super hyped when I finally caught him from a mega sphere that I found off the ground. Super important to the story, okay? I level stamina and I get the bird. The bird flies, alright? You need stamina and you need the bird. I ended up deciding to build the base like right behind this church because there's a lot of nodes here, and it was just I was nearby it. It doesn't have like any huge significance to the plan, but it did help out the nodes. And then right here, I just start capturing some pals that are going to be good for the base. The elk deer, the Ignis Tansy. The Ignis Tansy is just, it'd be good to have a fire pal this early on for obviously the iron ore and stuff like that. But it's not super crucial. These guys aren't like super necessary to the plan, but I do need to do some base stuff and get some levels so that way I can get a saddle for the bird and a fishing rod. I ended up attacking this little camp, and I was kind of hoping they'd have a better pal trapped in this cage, because these birds just suck. The only thing it's good for is terrorizing the local wildlife, I'm not gonna lie. But that's pretty much why I even came here. These places are normally hit or miss, and this one was clearly hit miss, but whatever. We hit every other time this run, so don't you worry. After getting my base situated just a little bit, I decided to come out here and kill some bosses, get some XP, capture some pals, and one of the biggest ones that I needed was Chillet, because Chillet is one of the earliest pals that you can get that will, let you swim around. Obviously not infinite stamina, but the benefit to Chillet over the infinite stamina is I was going to end up being in the desert a lot, and I wasn't going to have the best gear for it. Chillet will keep you cool as long as you have it out while you're in the desert. So that was kind of like a pretty big deal for capturing this thing. And Chillet's kind of just a goat anyway, so whatever. At this point in the run, I needed some paldium fragments pretty bad, so I decided just to go into the cave next to the church, which kind of led me down a path of being like, okay, this is a challenge run, and I don't want to do anything that would be potentially like breaking of what other people could, have. This isn't a speed run, right? This is just a challenge that I've made for myself. I just wanted to see how quickly I could catch the pal and use this as some kind of rubric for the future if I wanted to min-max catching Anubis or anything again, right? So that egg is significant because I decided I'm not going to pick up any eggs because eggs are completely random. Well, not completely random, but they're pretty random on what you can get and which eggs and what sizes you'll end up with. So I didn't want to hatch anything that would inevitably make this run either too easy or change it up so much that it would give me something that I'd be like, oh, well then I'll just use this to complete the rest of it. I wanted stuff that I could confidently count on being present everywhere that every single run that I went. Because you'll always find elk deers, you'll always find Chillet, you'll always find, pretty much every pal that I have up to this point. It's just common. I don't want an egg to ruin that sort of, that RNG. I want it to be pretty organic. So for the rest of the run, I don't touch any eggs. Although, if I were to do this again without recording it, I would 100% be picking up the eggs, obviously, especially at Faybreak. I was so tempted to pick up any and every egg at Faybreak. It is just a game changer to get those late game pals early on. But for the sake of this video, I refuse to touch them. That's why I don't touch them. Don't judge me. This right here, getting this saddle is the changing point, the turning point of this entire journey, because this is the only thing realistically holding me back from exploring further into this challenge. So I'm going to just speed this entire process up so you know I'm not doing anything funky, and so you can just see the sort of path that I took. And along the way, I obviously just needed some extra resources, or I was just capturing some random pals. But you get to see the journey that I took with Chillet all the way to Faybreak Island. And again, this is super early on. Like, even my Chillet is only level 11. You know, like, I just want to emphasize this. And earlier, I made a YouTube short about how I found a way to make like a bunch of money pretty early on, and this shows an example of just how early on you can go and use this money making method and make tons and tons of money, so that way you can just buy the resources that you would normally have to just farm for, which of course is involving the Terraria Island and fishing up the Gilded Demuds and the Turticle Terras, and they just sell for so much. I don't know if it's a bug. Like, I genuinely don't. I know the Demud makes sense, but the Turticle Terra sells for like 30,000-40,000, and it's just every other pal in the game doesn't even come close to that. Like, how does that make any sense? Anyway, I digress. The point is, I take this Chillet all the way to Faybreak, and this is where stuff starts to happen. This is the beginning of the run for realsies. What I'm trying to get to happen here, okay, and this is important, this island has a chance of supply drops falling from the sky. And like it was scripted, that was the first thing that happened as I got here, pretty much. And it was just a magical it was just an amazing experience. I was just exploring around, managed to get a supply drop. And why do I want this supply drop? In the supply drop, there's a chance to be really good pal spheres. And I mean, you can find them around the island too. You'll see me walking around, farming up some extra ultimate spheres. But the big one that I was trying to get is the supply drop to happen. Other than the pal spheres, that's all that I wanted from the supply drop. So I could have done it any other way, but this was just the way that I was kind of hoping it would play out, and it did. So, you know, RNG blessed me today. I ended up being able to bait these guys down to, like, since I was sitting on the beach and they were like trying to get to me to kill me, they ended up just running away far enough that I could loot this crate. It didn't have what I was looking for, but whatever, you know, it was still pretty lucky that it even happened in the first place, and I did get some other spheres that will be useful. But this right here, that rat, I don't know how he did it, or like what happened, but it was almost like they put a landmine down between those two rocks, and that caused me so much grief, I'm not gonna lie. Like, obviously I edited it out, but I had to go get another Chillet because they killed that one, because I kept dying every time I was walking back to this body because of all the inhabitants of this island being animals. Oh, it was honestly a disaster. But in the end, I got my stuff back, and I would just kind of walk around the island and look for, spheres of any kind to continue my journey because I didn't get quite what I was looking for. So I ended up with a few ultimate spheres, which was super, super lucky. Like I said, they do spawn in the ground. You can just walk around and find them, which, makes this a viable strategy because you don't have to rely on a supply drop thing. You can just find them. And then right here, obviously, I was just kind of waiting for Anubis to fall asleep. When he finally ended up doing that, I decided that just to make sure that the sphere thing would work, I wanted to use a strategy that I recently learned of, where you can just place campfires underneath pals after they fallen asleep, and once you build them, and you can put walls around them to just keep them in here. It's super handy. I mean, they just tick away, and all I had to do was just sit and wait for him to get low enough for me to capture him after building it all. Because fire is a tick damage based on like percentage health, I think. So it does quite a bit of damage. It doesn't matter about levels. The campfire has no levels. So you see me just sitting here like Batman watching over Gotham. I'm just watching Anubis burn in this little box I built him. And when he gets low enough, I can just jump down and throw some spheres in his face. This was honestly a really concerning part for me because, even after getting him that low, the percentage was still, not the highest. And so I wasn't for sure if I was going to be able to do it with these spheres. Obviously I did there, but I was kind of stressed out. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, that's Anubis. I'm level 19 and I gained a bunch of levels when I killed him. So I originally wasn't level 19, and after capturing him, I was filled to the brim with joy. Like, I wasn't even high enough level for a fishing rod yet, and now I'm here. And this is important because you can buy simple bait from this guy. Okay, so you build the fishing rod, you buy the simple bait, and then your money making method just starts taking off. And I'll show you here in this video of me just capturing stuff and showing off how I was making money. I needed a van worm. Well, not needed. I wanted a van worm because they would help carry stuff around my base and help with the smelting of ore because it was just taking forever. So I wasted more time doing that than I realistically needed to. But right here, I'm getting the beginner fishing rod. Level 19, I have an Anubis in the base. He's really helping out. Heaps. Got the van worm cooking. And now it's just kind of time to see how far I can take this. Okay, something very important that I did not know. Okay, and I want you to pay attention to this. This is super, super important information. Your very first time using the fishing rod is like a tutorial assisted one where it pretty much prevents you from failing. And I didn't know this, so I was just gonna see what this dude looked like when I was trying to catch him. But if you look, the fishing bar, like I'm not on him. I should have lost this fish ages ago. But because it's my first cast into the water with this rod and it's my first fish, it is giving me so much leeway to fail. I managed to catch this as a lunker as my first cast. Like this is insane. And this was one of the things where I was like, I wanted to show off. Like you could do this stuff pretty early on. You could come here and get some high level, pals without needing the pal spheres for them. But I did not expect to run into a lunker. Like I said, this is just nuts. So, but yeah, I mean, this opens up a lot of avenues because you could find something that's just like super hard to catch, and as long as it is your first time fishing, you will have a ton of like wiggle room. Because I came back and I try it again. I'm trying on the same fish, not a lunker, and I can't even catch it. I mean, that's just like a skill issue. Somebody could, but I can't. But I ended up I do catch one of these guys just to show that you can catch pals in this area, and they are good. Obviously, the Angler Ignis is like the better one that you want because they have the high watering and the high fire, and that's the reason why I was pursuing it this way. But you can actually fish up ultimate spheres, which was a surprise as well. But the biggest surprise, your first cast is fair game, and you are allowed to catch whatever you want on your first cast. So keep that in mind. Still level 19, by the way. Now, this is where I made a YouTube short talking about this strategy, but I need money because I don't want to have to farm for all the materials. So I came back to the Terraria crossover island, and I'm going to catch Mud Gilded and Turticle Terras. And the reason why is because for some reason, Turticle Terras sell for like 30-40k, when even stuff like the Gangler Ignis that I caught, that thing only sells for like 6k. Like it's worth nothing compared to a Turticle Terra. And this thing isn't a high level, it's not an alpha, it's not a lunker, just a normal Turticle Terra. It sells for like 30-40k. And the Mud Gildeds, they can sell up to like 100k if you get lunker on them. But base level, they're like 50k roughly. So it's just worth it to come here and just do some fishing, especially this early on. Like I said, look at my level. I could do this early. I'm using normal bait, which you could buy, and the normal fishing rod. And you can just make hundreds of thousands of gold, which can buy pretty much everything. You want to buy the resources for cakes or anything, you could definitely do that. You could buy high quality pal fluid, you could buy normal pal fluid, you could buy bones, you could buy anything, right? And it's just insane. I even found a merchant at one point that sells Paldium like the Paldium blue fragments. So I didn't even need to farm for those anymore in my actual playthrough. I have a shop merchant that I caught that just sells them. It's absolutely insane what you can do with money in this game. So having a good money making method is important. And yes, you could take this a step further. I saw a bunch of comments on that short, and they were giving me super crazy advice, saying stuff like if you get the proper team, you can end up making like $1 million every single time you visit the island. Like, definitely go back and look at the comments on that video, on that short, because some of those people are mad scientists. Like they are geniuses. I showed them a strategy and they took it and they ran with it. They made it a lot better. They improvised it. This is definitely like the best way to do it early game, but once you have the resources and you breeding up pals, definitely do what they recommend, because it is insane what they're saying. So, but yeah, just do this method if it's early game and you need money. This is just the best way. So with the bird saddle finally unlocked, it allows me to fly all the way out to underneath these sky islands. And the entire reason why we needed a bird that could hover over water, and the entire reason we've been leveling up stamina this entire time, was leading up to this. This was my original idea on how to catch an Anubis. It was to get to the top of these islands, get an ancient sphere, go back and capture Anubis. And ancient spheres, again, it's kind of like the Faybreak Island, where the ultimate spheres spawn over there. Ancient spheres can spawn up here by opening like the chests or getting really lucky with a drop or something like that. So that's kind of what I was banking on, but I didn't know fully if it would be possible to get to the top of this island with the Nightwing mount, because the stamina is just awful, the speed is awful. Like, I didn't fully know what I could do, but I did find a few rocks that I could jump off of the bird at the last second where the stamina was running out and grapple to the rocks, and then I would jump when the cooldown was done and grapple to another rock, and then I would just try my best not to move because it wouldn't consume stamina, so on and so forth. I was just really pushing limits, but I ended up making it to the top, so, you know. Right here, as you can see, made it to the top, and I put down a star marker, and the coordinates are left on screen and everything, just in case anybody was like wondering which rocks I ended up making it up. Those are the ones. So it is possible with everything that was, with everything that I stated, but the denizens up here are super dangerous as well, so you have to play it really safe while looking for a waypoint that you can use as sort of a fast travel if something goes wrong, or if you decide that you need to go back to base for whatever reason. But ultimately, up here, opening chests, you can get soul spheres and ancient spheres, so definitely worth coming up here if you feel like doing it. Those spheres are cracked, and you can also get gold keys to open up these lock chests, so extra win. Get some blueprints that you won't be able to craft until you're level like 80. Making it to this waypoint was such like a weight off my chest, because it's like you have like an idea, right? And as you try to pursue it, it is like, it's just tough. It's just tough to do, and it's tough to know whether, or like not know, I should say. It's tough to not know whether or not it'll end up working out. So I had this plan, and I didn't even know if I could make it to the island with Nightwing. Everything leading up to this point was just working towards that. I ended up capturing Anubis way earlier than needing to do this, but to be able to see that I'm able to make it to where I'm at right now has been just a wondrous journey, and nothing past this point had been planned, right? I had Anubis, I didn't need the ancient spheres, I did want the ancient spheres just to show that I could get them, and then I was like, well, how early can I get to the base spot, the blue water base spot that everybody is talking about and super hyped about? And it's like a super impractical base spot, especially this early on, but I showed that you can get there. You just need to take the extra steps to do it, and surprising myself, learning the entire time. I was just genuinely having a good time with this. It was a much needed break from playing my normal playthrough, where I'm just sitting in base trying to farm up resources and make sure that everything is min-maxed. And this was a very fun like little challenge, and it was definitely one hell of an experience. like I said, now that I was looking for, the way to get over here and everything, and now that I actually did it, I was like, oh, that's crazy. I should build a PAL box up here just to, have it. And then I realized that I didn't have the materials for a PAL box, so I wouldn't actually be able to do that. And there's no stone, believe it or not. There's no stone or paldium on these floating islands, so I went around looking for a while and couldn't find anything. But there is normal wood. I thought it'd be hardwood. No, it's normal wood on some of those trees, so there is that. But I ended up having to go back to base and get the resources for a PAL box, and I had to dismantle my previous one just so I could build up here. If you're playing this early in the game, this is not a spot that you want to build, okay? If you have an extra PAL box you're not using, which wouldn't make any sense because you should be using them, right, this early in the game for different resources. But, I mean, you could build a base up here this early and just sort of vibe. But you do have a Jetragon as a neighbor, so you do have to kind of keep that in mind. This is the point when everything kind of comes full circle, because getting to that island was my first actual plan. Burning Anubis and capturing with ultimate spheres was like plan B, I think, or plan C. I don't remember. But basically this was the original plan. I was going to go get an ancient sphere and just come capture him outright. The fire strategy was definitely a lot better. And you can get it way earlier, so doing that is definitely the strat, is going to Faybreak Island and getting an ultimate sphere and then burning Anubis when he sleeps. And, like I said, I'm still a low level. Like, I just leveled up a few more times from capturing him. I show off that those ancient spheres are super OP. You can capture Yormintide if you really want to. It doesn't matter. Like, those ancient spheres are the pinnacle, and you can farm them on that island. Or on the Sky Islands. Like, if you take the time to get to this point, you can capture like anything. Here's the Dazzy Noct boss, level 60. I'm not messing around. I think I use Soul Spheres on this one. Yeah, so you don't even need the Ancient Spheres. You can get really lucky and just use Soul Spheres on things too. Like, both the spheres that you get on those flying islands in those chests are super amazing, and it's just awesome. And right here you see this is my new base location, and I put out some of the new guys. But this next part needs to just be a non-voiceover part so you can hear my reaction to what happens next. But thanks for sticking around. And if you decide to even remotely do anything that I did, this base location, while completely beautiful, not viable, and you have one of, if not the shittiest neighbor in the game. And I just want to emphasize, you have a shitty ass neighbor, but this place is gorgeous. It's awesome at night, it's awesome during the day, and when you unlock glass stuff, you can glass ceiling this entire area and just walk all over this. I don't think you'll be able to capture Jetragon with anything other than an ancient sphere, especially without doing damage to him first. I can just show you. But what if? You know what I mean? Like, but what if? Oh god. But what if? But what if? What if? What? What? Anyway, guys, it's just that easy. But what if, dude, what? But what if, guys? Oh, you know, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. I might just be the him that everybody's talking about. Oh, what the hell? Like that could not have been a more beautiful ending to this journey, I don't think. I'll keep this character around and this save, but holy shit, guys. What a journey. What a good amount of knowledge that I've obtained. And like I said, this was a learning experience for me. I didn't know how far I could take this, but the fact that I just captured Jetragon, I think that says it all. I didn't even do any damage. He's level 70. I didn't do anything to that man. I've gotten 2 Anubises. I've gotten the Dazzy Knocked. I've gotten the Yormantide. And then to top it all off, the cherry on the cake, Jetragon. What level am I? 29. But I definitely wasn't level 29 when I did that because I have 9 points. Okay, so I might as well have done that all at level 20, right? Oh, dude, it feels good. As this video is wrapping up, I did just want to say that I really appreciate anybody who stuck around for the end. It does mean a lot, especially since, you know, I'm newer to YouTube. Obviously, I don't have a lot of subscribers or anything like that, but it is definitely like quite the journey and quite the experience to go through and do these things, and even like consider the idea that other people are gonna sit down and watch it or click on it or leave a comment or like it or subscribe or anything like that. It is really just special. So getting to do something like this, and obviously, you know, it's not like my career or anything, but it is just something that I enjoy, and I think that's what's important. So you know, if you do any of those things, if you like, comment, or subscribe, you know, I sit down and I read the comments. So even if you're gonna roast me in the comments, I'm still gonna sit there and laugh. I'm not gonna take anything too seriously. You can go nuts. I'm just here for a good time, you know. Like, if you have any tips, I mean, I love min maxing tips. If you know any videos that are awesome for min maxing or see any improvements, like definitely link me. I'll go check them out or anything like that. But yeah, I just appreciate any interaction you guys want to give me. And right there in that end screen, you got to see that the world settings were on normal, so I didn't miss anything. And the challenge officially ended on day 8. And if anyone wants to see like the fully unedited version of that thing, it was like 3 hours long or whatever, I would be willing to post that. I would just need to know you want to see it. All right, have a good one.